And we are back. Hope you were able to make the most out of that break. Hope you were able to rev up your Reavers and garnish your Goliaths and see what did I say about science? Sprinkle your
Yeah, yeah.
science vessels.
There
There
you
we go.
go.
That's what I said. That's what I said in the while we were on break. As we will not be having another break. 2 matches remaining. The first one coming up here is going to determine who is going to be the first player eliminated from the SEL Fall Championship 2024.
Yeah, exactly. Alas, we will have to say goodbye to one of these amazing players here, potentially, depending on who does go down and who does make it through. We'll see as we have a PvT ahead of us, a matchup that we have been avoiding so far in this tournament, but now we can embrace it as we are going to be jumping into Kiwian versus ReBellioN.
Indeed, we are. And the one thing on my mind, Light, is ghosts, they were a thing in Brute War.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe EMP was a thing in Brute War.
Yeah. True.
So now I'm trying to imagine how effective, ghosts Brute War ghosts would be against StarCraft 2 Protoss.
Mate, I can't wait until eventually we cast a TvT. Let me tell you, ghosts are crazy in TvT, man.
Oh yeah.
Wait.
Brute War ghosts specifically.
Yeah, because Brute War ghosts, they have the interference matrix basically. Like they have lockdown.
Yeah.
So they come in, they lock down tank lines. It's insane.
They lock down all yeah. Ooh.
We'll get there.
We'll look forward to that as we'll get there. As we jump into game number 1 here of our TVP. And over here, spawning on ley lines in the top right-hand corner of ley lines, we have our red StarCraft 2 Terran player coming out from the land of Korea. You may have known him in the past as Top or TOP, but he is here. He is excited. He is Kiwian. Not to be confused with Kiwian.
True, that is a very different Terran player. As spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Brood War Protoss. It is ReBellioN. As Kiwian does something that's a little bit old school, we don't see this too often anymore, but he's going for a fake proxy. Actually, it gets scouted immediately.
I mean, what is considered old school in SEL, right? Because this is something we haven't seen in a couple of years, but then again, some of these Brute War builds, they're things that we haven't really seen that often. I mean, again, my familiarity with the current Brute War Pro scene is not very high, and I think some of these builds that we've been seeing are straight up ports from what a lot of the current Brute War Pros are doing, but some of them I'm just not familiar with. Some of them I feel are things that were meta years ago, but not so much now, especially since we're playing on a different engine and with different maps.
Yeah, we're here to learn. We're here to experience it all together as one. Oh my god. By the way, off of the proxy racks, or the fake proxy racks, into factory, into a second racks with double gas, Kiwian is not expanding. This is a very delayed CC. Oh, a third rack, one base all in.
Here we go.
Man, we're getting a lot of cheese today.
Yeah, this has been a quick evening. I mean, we've already passed the midway mark. We've had one break, and we're not even 2 hours in.
Oh yeah, it's been a very fast night of StarCraft here. As the pylon does complete, Zealot does rush in, and with this, Zealot harassing ReBellioN, he scouts everything he sees. The 3 axes, he's aware of the one base all in.
Yeah, even managed to get a very strong delay here, delaying 2 of these Raxes by quite a while. And now, that was a very fast Zealot. Keep in mind, no charge or no legs have been researched yet.
Yeah, no legs whatsoever. Dragoons have arrived. They shut down the Reaper. They're pushing in. The pylon's still providing high ground vision. There's only 1 Marine because add-ons have been on the way. Kiwian, he only has 1 Marine to survive here.
Now, 1 Marine, no bunker. He's about to get a siege tank out, which actually does deal decently well against Dragoons. At least, well, they do better against Dragoons than they do against Immortals, I can tell you that much.
They do, but that's still going to be 6 SCV kills and a lot of lost mine time here on a 1 base economy, so damage has been done. Behind this, what does ReBellioN have? A shuttle is on the way, Dragoon range on the way, the Bay as well. He is working towards Reavers.
Yeah, and at this point, it is too late for Kiwian to switch out of this and try to get a second base. Yeah, it's too late for him to do that. I stopped myself for a second when I saw the SCV, but no, that's just a scouting SCV. So, yeah, it's too late for him to get a second base. He needs to commit to this 1 base all-in. He's not going to have Stim. He's going to have Combat Shield, though, which will give these Marines a little bit more sustainability, and he will be pushing out with 3 tanks as well.
Yeah, he's trying to bait the army into tank range. Tank volley goes off here on the Dragoon, not too bad, but here comes the Reaver. The Reaver is in production. Shuttle is ready to move out across the map. ReBellioN has expanded. He does have the better economy. As the game goes longer, as it progresses, it's getting better and better for ReBellioN.
Yeah, these 2 tanks and handful of Marines have a lot of work to do.
They really do. As the boys are being pulled, Kiwian, it's all or nothing with this push. Either he kills ReBellioN or he dies trying, as he does move out across the map. Meanwhile, shuttle speed is on the way. The first Reaver is moving out.
Yeah, it's going to look to ideally try to intercept this army, but even if it's able to go across the map, the Reaver shot will connect with a handful of Marines, so it's very good split by Kiwian. But 1 tank will already fall, and all of these SCVs very low as well. They need to stay alive to provide their repairs for these tanks.
They really do. Meanwhile, these Reaver shots have been insane. 1 tank goes down, a good amount of Marines as well. There's barely an army remaining here. I mean, again, Reavers, they come online so much faster than Disruptors, and they're so much more reliable as well, right? Like, they just lock on, they pop up, they shut down the all-in, and there is still Marines remaining, but another shot goes off. Nice split, though, there out of Kiwian.
Yeah, only 1 Marine, or 2 Marines really taking the brunt of that Scarab. Yeah,
just the 1 Marine. Meanwhile, more Scarab ships are loading up. The tanks are slowly leapfrogging forward here. Likewise, would you see the Kiwianese race to dive on the army? Shot goes off. 3 more Marines go down.
Yeah, well, it is only 3 Marines at this point, considering Kiwian's economy, considering his total supply. That still counts for a decent chunk of his main army.
Yeah, it really does. Shield batteries are ready. They are done. They're topping up these Dragoons, and we do see that ReBellioN is ready to dive in. He does collapse on the first tank.
Yeah, beautiful concave here coming out from ReBellioN. Immediately he's able to take it out.
Yeah, now he's coming in from behind with those Reavers. Shots going to be going off here on the tanks. 1 tank is going to be going down. Reaver goes down as well, but there's barely an army remaining for Kiwian.
Double Scarab. That is absolutely brutal. GG is called, and ReBellioN will be taking game number 1. Very, very solid scout right from the beginning, and just pretty much a perfect response after that.
Oh yeah, GG, well played. When it came to the Dragoon harass early on, when it came to the Reaver transition as well, again, I think like we've been relating the Reaver a lot to the Disruptor for good reason, but I do think that, I mean, we've spoken about this before, about how there are certain units that are kind of like a middle ground between the SC2 units, like the Hydra, right? Like the Brutal Hydra is kind of like in between the SC2 Roaches and the SC2 Hydras. I feel like this Reaver has a lot of similarities with the Immortal, right, from SC2, where it is just it can just be a solid backbone to your army, and it is impacted the game earlier on.
Yeah, like you said, it is a lot more tanky, and it impacts the game a lot better early on. Dragoons, they're good, but you can't be relying entirely on them. You need that little extra punch, which is, you know, just like in SC2 when you would have mostly Stalkers and then 1 or 2 Immortals to really turn the tides early on. That's pretty similar with Dragoons and Reavers. You have a lot of Dragoons as the meat of your army, but then you have 1 or 2 Reavers, and that's really what will turn the tide in your favor.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, ReBellioN does take a lead in the series, and now we are getting into game number 2. Once again, we're going to be loading into Troy.
Here we go. We'll see if we're able to make use of those neutral assimilators once again.
Why is there no horse on this map?
that kind of is. If you look at it's kind of like a horse,
Uh-huh.
but like flattened out. Well, actually, it looks more like a butterfly.
It does.
Yeah, you're right. It can kind of be a horse,
Uh-huh.
depending on how you look at it. Even though it looks more like a butterfly or a moth. But you know what they say, right? Butterflies, they're the horses of the insect world.
True. They do say that.
They do say that. Speaking of saying things, we're going to be loading into Troy. Here in the bottom right-hand corner of the map, starting all the way in the bottom right. Once again, repping StarCraft 2 Terran. We have our red StarCraft 2 Terran player coming out from the land of Korea. He is formerly known as Top, or TOP, now known as Kiwian.
And spawning in the top left-hand corner, scouting horizontally immediately across the map, looking for his opponent, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the Brood War Protoss, once again, representing his clan NWCE, leading the series 1-0. It is ReBellioN. We go. Now, this is something that I should bring up because I think this is the first time we've seen this in the tournament so far, but the format is a little bit different when it comes to picking the race. This was the case for the qualifier and for the main event as well, but it is actually loser's pick. So the higher seed gets to pick initially whether they play SE2 or Brood War, and then the loser of Game 1 will be able to pick if they play SE2 or Brood War in Game 2. So Kiwian has chosen to stick with SE2.
Yeah, which is honestly not what I was expecting from him. I think of Kiwian, I think of a bit more of an older school player. I mean, he was active in Wings of Liberty, and he had some really good results in Wings of Liberty as well, but then after that, kind of took a step back, focused more on streaming, focused more on being a content creator. I would have expected Kiwian's pick to be Brute or Terran, but thinking back to that first series, I believe he also picked StarCraft 2 when he played against Shin, when it was Luz's pick.
Yeah, I think so as well. So he might just be feeling a little bit more confident with his SE2 at the moment. Regardless, we do see ReBellioN is the first to scout. He does confirm where his opponent is. Kiwian has yet to confirm himself as the first zealot has arrived, is gunning down at that SCV, will delay the bunker and potentially delay the CC.
I just want to appreciate the zealot walking.
Yeah, it works with so much so much purpose.
So much, exactly. He's like marching.
Yeah.
It's a graceful kind of stride. It's a graceful stride. He's pacing himself.
He's like power
he's
walking.
Not sprinting right off the gate. Exactly.
Oh my god. It's admirable. It's impressive.
Yeah. That, if you ever want to learn how to long distance run, take inspiration from the Brute War Zealot.
In my mind, I'm not gonna lie, that Brute War Zealot when he walks, I picture like Steel Mold doing laps around a lake or something. Like that's what he looks like. Like, oh my god. But he's in shape, like it's good. Like it's impressive. But that's what I think of.
He's like those pensioners that run marathons.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking of. Oh no.
What's the name of the 80-year-old guy who was barred from a marathon but then signed up anyway?
But then he wins it, is the thing. That's
he won it, yeah.
The end of the story.
Exactly, because he paced himself.
Exactly.
He didn't get winded early on.
Oh,
it's the tortoise and the hare. The tortoise who just paced himself.
Exactly.
And made it.
Exactly, He was humble. As we're settling into our game, we do see that Kiwian instead is rushing to a third CC. As opposed to Game 1 where he cheesed, here we have a fast third CC for Kiwian. Something else that I should mention that is a feature of this map that we didn't even get to talk about, and if you notice this, right next to Kiwian's main base towards the left-hand side is a pseudo island base. It is completely sealed off from the rest of the world, so you can just lift and land your CC there quite freely without being harassed, at least without, any kind of shuttle harass or war prism harass.
Yeah, and that takes a little while longer to really achieve, at least for Brood War Protoss. Shuttles, they're slow. They're very slow units, and I mean, just pretty much everything about. You can consider pretty much anything about the Brute War Protoss to be slower compared to their StarCraft 2 counterparts, but as we keep saying, it allows them to keep pace. It allows them to be a bit more powerful.
Yo, and there's so much going on. Okay, first things first. One, we have a Reaver drop. We have a double Reaver drop moving out through the center of the map. A shuttle is done. Shuttle speed is on the way as well.
Oh.
So ReBellioN is sending it across the map. At the same time, because we're on such a large map, because it's a 4-player map, Ninja Base. Ninja Base was a bottleneck as well. Cheeky move out of ReBellioN.
And the Vikings and the Raven are going to catch out this drop, but it will land regardless. One Reaver already going to be getting a Scarab off, and the Dragoon here, ideally it was looking to clean up the weakened SCVs, but the landed Vikings will make short work of that drop. Kiwian, he's played very often on this map, you can tell. He was already prepared for that.
He completely shut that down, and that was a big investment. Remember, that was shuttle speed, that was the shuttle, that was the Reaver, that was the Dragoon as well, so very solid defense, and that means that Kiwian gets away with his 3rd CC.
Yeah, he's got the 3rd up and running already. It's already in orbital command. He's up higher. He's ahead when it comes to the worker count. And he's just going to be perpetually ahead from here. Now, ReBellioN, he needs to deal some kind of economic damage, apply some kind of pressure, and that's why we can see him setting up all these Dragoons outside of the natural.
He is outside the natural, but the observer of ReBellioN does confirm the tank line here. There's 3 tanks and a bunker on the high ground. On top of that, it's a ramp. It's a narrow ramp as well. Troy is very defendable here on 3 bases, and we do see that Kiwian takes full advantage of that. He is safe, he is secure, and ReBellioN cannot break this.
Can he take the other island map?
He could. Yeah,
or not the island map, the island base, yeah.
I mean, he could try, definitely, if he can float all the way over. Speaking of ReBellioN double expanding, remember, he's going for the Ninja Base, but he's also going for the base at the center of the map. This is less of an island. It does have access here through the area between the gas geysers, definitely. But it is quite exposed, or quite isolated, I should emphasize.
Yeah, the opposite of exposed. It's less of an island and more of a lagoon. It has a little bit of isolation, but you can still access it by ground. As you do see, Kiwian now pushing out huge anti-armor missile, laying on top of just about every single Dragoon. But a Reaver will pop out of that shuttle and will take out a massive chunk of the Bio Army.
Oh yeah, the Marines, they do struggle here. Nice spread with the Marauders. They do contest against the Dragoons. Shuttle goes down. Reaver goes down as well. And Kiwian, he does rally everything across the map. He smells blood in the water. He's going to try to go for the kill. A last charge is done, and Zealots have arrived.
Yeah. Those Zealot legs, they can make short work on these tanks. I mean, the tanks are looking very exposed as well. Very easy to surround. But that's why we're rallying everything. That's why we're getting just about every single unit here of Terran, of Kiwian. And that's something that it was interesting to note as well in TVP like this. Every time you stim, you're leaving your units more vulnerable to a Reaver volley.
True. You're not wrong. Not wrong with that dynamic. Meanwhile, we have a Viking drop towards the north, so no mining whatsoever at that 4th base, not the 3rd. Meanwhile, Storm just finished. Storm did just finish. High Templar, it's coming in!
It's looking for something to Storm. That's a big chunk of Terran Bio, but he actually goes for the tank instead. Will sacrifice the High Templar to achieve that, but ReBellioN will be able to chase this back, will be able to stop the push right in its tracks.
Yeah, it does clean it up there. It does actually save one of his High Templar as well. That does come in to reinforce. Rotates around, going for the Vikings, and ReBellioN, he holds. As you mentioned before, this center area of the map is so wide open. I mean, there's no terrain to help you when it comes to like any kind of SimCity or when it comes to kiting back to a choke point. Very wide open, ReBellioN holds.
Yeah, best you can really hope for is to try to use shrubbery to nice vision, maybe sneak out a couple of cheeky tank volleys from behind bushes, but even then, it doesn't take too long for these speedy Zealots to get on top of those hidden units.
Exactly. With purpose, they do get on top of them. Meanwhile, ReBellioN, he's actually further ahead economically than Kiwian is aware because of that Ninja Base. Likewise, Kiwian setting up for his other expansion, getting his 4th also on location. Both armies facing off against each other. Kiwian actually going for a Doom Drop here on the right-hand side.
Oh, there's a massive risk as ReBellioN is starting to push in to the natural. But Kiwian, yeah, he's setting up.
He's setting up. There are 2 high Templar in the shuttle. Looks like we might even end up in a bit of a base trade here as the Doomdrop does hit the expansion. Nexus is going to be going down. Meanwhile, ReBellioN, he does turn back around. He will come back home.
Oh, he's trying to get the assimilators. He's trying to get the assimilators. Can he block this off?
Oof.
He will be able to. There's absolutely no way now for ReBellioN to save this base as it gets forfeit.
Oh my god, meanwhile, Stormdrop in the middle line. Ooh. 20 SCVs go down. Oh my god, it was oversaturated. So many workers fall. And sure, ReBellioN, he may have lost the base, but remember, he has the ninja base. The base did not matter.
Yeah, he kills those 20 workers, and with that takes a slight lead when it comes to the worker count.
Does take that slight lead. Meanwhile, we do see Kiwian. He is not done. He's committing to his Doomdrop in towards the main, but this time there's an army waiting for him.
There is. Now, Brute War High Templar, they don't have feedback, so these medevacs are going to be able to make it out of here without taking any without taking too much damage.
Yeah, we just see ReBellioN trying to hunt down those medevacs, but Lasso Drop is safe and sound here at that now essentially island location. Likewise, we see Kiwian getting his 4th base up and running. Planetary is morphing in, and he's getting to his ghost production.
Yeah, I just realized the rocks after you kill the assimilators. Those rocks are not destructible.
Yeah. It's crazy. This is what I love about some of these new old Brood War maps, is that they have these unique features that just aren't really a thing in SC2 anymore. Whether it's, you know, island bases, whether it's 4-player maps, whether it's stuff like this, right? Like permanent rocks. You don't see that period in SC2.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's different. It's refreshing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, yeah, that would have been a good time to take out those assimilators as Kiwian loses his 4th base.
Yeah, it does lose the 4th base. At the same time, massive storm on the bite. Oh my god, the storms are insane. Oh,
yeah,
Jesus.
Blanketing just about everything. Ghost not here in time. They finally land their EMPs, but not before a massive chunk of the Bio army. I would say probably half of at least this force gets taken out. We still, of course, have that Doomdrop floating around here from Kiwian.
Mate, he took every storm to the face. That was crazy. The supply plummeted. Oh, yeah. There's barely an army left standing. Thankfully, you do have the Doomdrop, of course, is still active on the map. The supplies are still comparable to each other. ReBellioN forced to expand towards the south end instead, getting his own 4th base. But as you mentioned, at least he did kill the 4th of Kiwian, so he's knocked down to a 3-base economy instead.
I just realized this late, but this is the first for this evening. We're getting into the mid-game. We're getting a bit of a longer one here.
Yeah.
Oh, we've actually just passed the mid-game. We're not in the late game yet, but...
Yeah. We're getting there.
Yeah, alright. We're getting there. We can appreciate the dynamic a little bit more.
I mean, what also helps with that as well, which is also another X factor of a 4-player spawn map. The last time we saw Troy was a PvP, which was vertical spawns. Here, with diagonal spawns, I mean, they're much further away, right? Rush distance by ground is far longer here, so it's harder to be more in the face of your opponent and harder to be more aggressive, as the gas guys are going to be knocked down. Oh, almost.
Oh, and it was going to try. Yeah. Almost was able to catch all of these zealots as well in between the rocks. Take them out.
Storm jump. Oh my god.
He's been blanketing this natural base. All these SCVs want to do is mine.
Yeah, they just want to mine. Only 1 High Templar made it through. The Vikings and the turrets denied the 2nd High Templar from jumping in. Meanwhile, massive EMPs here in the center of the map. The army does engage and almost every single unit gets EMP'd.
Yeah, there's one ghost that has Storm right now, and Kiwian, he sees it. Got him in sights. It gets taken out by the Bio.
Yeah, High Templar goes down. We have backup High Templar on the way. Reaver coming behind this as well. Once again, the EMPs are solid, but does Kiwian have enough of a Bio army? He lost all of his Marines. He lost all of his Marauders as well.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it.
On the drop.
Sure, the EMPs were good, and we're able to take out a lot. The assimilators get taken down, and a lot of these units now trapped. This, I believe, the 5th base, or no, 4th base. Yeah. Here from ReBellioN, gonna be forfeit once again.
Yeah, very effective drop here from a Kiwian, takes down the entire mineral line, takes down the base. At the same time, ReBellioN, he has to commit across the map, but Kiwian, he's ready for this. He's maxed out.
Yeah, he's got a lot of EMPs. He's got a lot of ghosts. He even has Ghost Cloak in case he needs it. And he hasn't used it yet, but he can utilize it.
Yeah, exactly. At these drops, they've been winning. Kiwi in this game. He sniped so many bases, so many mineral lines with this Doom drop going further into the main as well, forcing ReBellioN back home. And again, Kiwian, he is at that max out supply. ReBellioN, he's struggling to keep up.
Yeah, it's really struggling with these drops. They're trying to go back and forth with these very slow and mobile Protoss units. I mean, Kiwian, he's just utilizing this map and utilizing his unit mobility, his army mobility to best he can, taking full advantage of the fact that ReBellion's army is that much slower than his.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's no recall, for example. I'm not without arbiters. Massive storms here on the Bio army, but nice split here from Kiwi and Zelce coming from behind. Can ReBellioN collapse on this?
I believe we only have one Ghost of EMP left remaining, but yeah, the stim, the kiting, it's looking way too good right now for Kiwian.
Yeah, he does kite back to the safety of his reinforcements of the tanks as well. More EMPs can be coming in. There are some storms behind this, though. ReBellion's trying to come in with the Reaver.
Yeah, some of those ghosts work quite in position, so a couple of storms do land, but all he has is all he's got, and he's about to die. These Dragoons are going down, the Archons go down, and ReBellioN just lost his entire army without being able to break Kiwian. GG is called. Kiwian will be taking game number 2, tying us up 1-1.
GG, well played. Kiwian showing us that, hey, he doesn't just have to cheese, doesn't just have to all in, he can take it to the mid game, to the late game even. Very impressive stuff. And as you mentioned, I mean, it isn't just that Kiwian was taking advantage of his more mobile army, but it does feel like Troy is that much more punishing for that as well because of those assimilators. He was making use of the terrain here time and time again. He was knocking them down and just cutting ReBellioN off from his own bases.
Yeah, time and time again. I feel for those Dragoons. I got trapped between those rocks. I was expecting them to just die immediately, but no, they were just trapped. And thankfully, there was a Terran army nearby to put them out of their misery.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. With that, GG well played. Very impressive play there out of Kiwian, able to embrace a longer game. But now we're going to be spawning into a much smaller map instead. We're going to be loading into Whispers of Gold.
Here we go. StarCraft 2 map this time. Mm-hmm. And if you'll recall, it is the rush map that we're jumping into.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. Shorter rush distance by ground, exposed third base as well. Aggression is going to be favored here, so we may have enjoyed a longer macro game, but that might not be what we see here.
Yeah, here we go. As we spawn into Whispers of Gold, where we're here in the top left-hand corner map, starting all the way in the top left, we have our red Brood War Terran player coming down for the first time in the series. Going to be playing Brood War Terran. You may have known him in the past as Top or TOP. You may have known him as the guy who got nuked, question mark? If I remember that game correctly. I'm digging through my memory to remember some of the very memorable games from this fella right here, who goes by Kiwian.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, oh, as there is an SCV moving out across the map, we have the South Korean Protoss player, the SC2 Protoss, being forced into the ace match. Can he bring it back? It is ReBellioN.
Getting NG blocked, and you know what?
Mm-hmm.
You can lift Brute War at E-base.
True. Saying you should just finish it and then float away. You should...
Yeah.
Let's go. As yes, some things they do persist between certain matchups here. We have the eBay block here at the natural. Does not complete it, of course, so you will have the option to cancel, and this will disrupt and delay the opener and the economy of ReBellioN.
Should finish it. Commit.
You're like, just lift, float over, and then proxy +1. It'll be amazing.
Oh, that's not the only thing that Kiwian is utilizing in order to really mess with ReBellion's build.
Yeah. Going for the gas steal in the main as well. The SV takes a lot of hits. We'll have to get the hell out of there, but a nice start here for Kiwian. does cause quite a nuisance, quite an annoyance here for ReBellioN. We do have Adepts on the way. He will eventually deal with this, but yeah, it's going to be quite an awkward start for ReBellioN.
Man, look at this Zealot. Naruto running, essentially. It does look like it's Naruto running.
Yeah, it does.
With its one arm in front of him and one arm behind him.
Yeah. Like, look at this clown. Just, you know, just with always on side blades, just can't even walk across the map. What's going on, mate? What happened to this generation? Oh, that's a kill! Oh my god.
Dude, that was a kill. You see, that's why you should have finished the eBay.
True.
They could have lifted it.
Oh no. As we do get ReBellioN shading across the map here, he will threaten the mineral line. Likewise, Academy's on the way for Stim. Does commit to the shade. We'll go for the SCVs.
I forgot the tech labs were really a thing, at least off of barracks.
There are machine shops for the factories.
True. They weren't called tech labs, yeah. Is the range upgrade for Marines in SC Evo?
I believe it is. Yeah, it's also on the Academy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I guess the vanilla Marines got a little bit of a nerf?
Yeah, I believe I don't think they're technically as effective as SC2 Marines. I'm not too familiar with the exact numbers, of course.
At least not unupgraded. Yeah. Unupgraded, as effective, but with full upgrades, they're about the same, I think.
I mean, they're different. they're definitely different here, as I believe they do have longer range. Regardless, medics are now in production as well. As a reminder, there are no medevacs, so medics are required instead to help support. Likewise, they're also quite tanky units themselves, so they can be used not just to support the army, but also to buffer as well.
Yeah, that's what the shield is for.
True. Is what the shield is for, as we do see the shades into the main. The Adept does get eyes on the 3-rack, so ReBellioN is fully aware of the massive bio coming his way. Has a response. It looks like he's getting ready for Colossus production.
Yeah, what better way to take out these Marines than a handful of medevacs, right? I say medevacs, I mean medics.
Yeah, I
feel like I can never say medic, you know? I feel like when I say medic, I have to go, medic!
I understand your pain. It's fine. It's fine. But what's important here is that this 3-racks with medic support, it hits a lot faster here than normal, because usually in SE2 you'd have to wait for the starport, but alas, you can make medics with purely Raxes instead. And here we go. He is going to pull the trigger. Stim is done.
Medic is so fast, it just dove right in and got immediately killed.
It did immediately get shut down.
Slow down.
With that, Kiwian has to race back home. Again, ReBellioN, he was able to scout, able to confirm what was going on, made a safety immortal, and now the Colossus is on the way behind this.
Yeah, and as a result, Kiwian, he has to go back home. He has to rethink, get ready for a secondary push, this time with siege ship tanks.
Oh yeah, siege mode is being researched. We have marine range on the way as well. He's building up towards his 3-1-1 setup, and thankfully the marines did make it back home. Only the medic died, so despite the initial failed push, he did retain his army. Yeah,
so he can defend against the counter harass that's coming his way. Ooh, those adepts actually committed to that shade. Not exactly the best idea, as they all immediately get taken out.
The Adepts are cleaned up, so nicely done here by Kiwian. Meanwhile, back at home, ReBellioN building up his Colossus. He's got one for the time being, going for the War Prism to reinforce, and ReBellioN, he's looking to be assertive here. He's moving out.
Interesting. Yeah, we don't often see aggressive Colossus like this anymore.
Yeah, and I don't know if I'm fond of it, because, I mean, the siege line is getting there here for Kiwian.
Yeah, I mean, that's the follow-up that I omitted, right? We don't necessarily see aggressive Colossus like this anymore, because it just gets immediately shut down.
Yeah, so, I mean, it looks like ReBellioN, he's at least containing his opponent. He's expanding back at home. He's going to poke in, but does face check and does confirm that there are tanks waiting for him.
Yeah, that's not the only thing. as dropship.
Oh.
They get loaded up, 7 Marines, as well as a single medic inside of that. Now, dropships, they do not have boost, so you have to keep that in mind. They do take a little bit longer to get across the map. Colossus drop right into Kiwian's main. Swipes away at a couple of SCVs.
Gets 3 SCVs, not bad. It does save the Colossus, gets the hell out of there. I believe no real hull damage is dealt. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, the dropship is boosting towards the main base. We'll see what Kiwian can get done.
It's about to dive right behind the mineral line.
And not bad. There's the stim. Probes are falling. That's going to be 7 8. Oh my god, 8 probes are already going to be going down.
Yeah, 8 of them do fall. Artosis Pylon does get taken out. That's 3 gateways no longer in production, and also +1 armor. That's going to be slowed down a lot. Medics can heal inside the medevac. Oh, the dropship. Today I learned.
It's crazy.
They don't have to land.
It makes sense if they're all like in the same room. Like, yeah. Just heal up.
Heal up, yeah. It's very much unlike the interaction with the medevac, as obviously the medevac can't shoot itself with its healing beam.
It's true. It can't happen. Imagine if you had 2 medevacs and you could have one shoot like the beam through the window into like the units inside the other medevac.
Yeah, they're like, stay still. We need to make sure we get this. We need to make sure that we get this.
Oh no. Oh no. Otherwise,
we need to make sure that we don't miss. Yeah.
Otherwise, it does like radiation
Otherwise,
damage to like the whole.
Yeah. It'll blow up the engine.
Oh no. The precision required. See, really, they could do that. They just don't, because I mean, it often does end in disaster. It's true.
They're cowards, is what you're saying.
Oh god.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's one of the things I seem to remember from, like, you know, one of those dev interviews talking about the shift from Brute War into StarCraft 2. So they realized that the meta for Terran, if you're going to go into drop play, they always loaded up at least 1 medic into the dropship. So they're like, what if we just combine the medic and the dropship into 1 unit? And then you could have 8 Marines instead of 7.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, crazy.
Speaking of, we do see another drop into the main, likewise drop into the natural. Do have a dual-pronged attack here by Kiwian. Is getting some economic damage, but for the most part, ReBellioN should be able to keep up. At the same time, his main army is going to be pushing, but that's a massive siege line here. Not just tanks, but also now Ghost for Kiwian.
Yeah, it goes for EMP and also for Interference Matrix, as that did get research. It's not called Interference Matrix, but it does the same thing, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually, I would say, better. I believe lockdowns, they don't just disable the unit, they lock it down, as in they can't move.
Immobilize it?
Yes.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
I could just imagine that for, this one Colossus, for instance.
Yeah.
Right on top of the siege line. Oof.
We shall see, though.
But I guess that's a trade-off, right? Is that the Ghost is a ground unit, so it's a bit more vulnerable like that.
Yeah, as we are just going to be setting up. Likewise, science vessels also coming into play for Kiwian. He's securing himself quite well here on 3 bases. Likewise, ReBellioN still trying to refine his army. I'm a little bit shocked to see that, there's only 1 Colossus, but he has 7 High Templar. He's relying a lot more heavily here on Storm.
Yeah, and we'll see how this works out for him. We saw him utilize the Brute War Storms to great effect in the previous game, but now he's up against a little bit of a different army composition. They interact a little bit differently.
Yeah, definitely. So we are going to be spreading out. Of course, the science vessels do have their own EMPs available as well, so that's where that comes into play. And again, this is just a really secure setup. It isn't just a tank line. We have depots, turrets, bunkers as well. Kiwian, he is heavily fortified here, and I don't really see ReBellioN pushing into this anytime soon.
Yeah, this is... How many tanks do we have here? 2, 4, 6, 7. Or alternatively, I could just open up the unit tab and see that we have 10. Oh, good use of the terrain to try to get on the high ground and shut down this mineral line, but unfortunately the High Templar were still in range of these tanks. Marines gonna stim right on top of this Warp Prism, will be shutting it down, as well as all of the Zealots that were warped in, or soon to be warped in.
Yeah, exactly. So nice cleanup there by Kiwian. Meanwhile, across the map, ReBellioN cleans up the drop, so we do defend at both locations at once here. Both players do hold on. Both players taking their 4th bases as well, as we are about to max out.
Yeah, both players actually. For, I think, the first time this evening, we're going to see 2 maxed out armies clash against each other.
Yeah, we are getting there. As the bases progress for ReBellioN, he will have the opportunity to take it to Skytoss. That is going to be available to him if he so wishes. Scan into the main will reveal that that is not the case. Gets eyes on the Dark Shrine, gets eyes on extra Raxes as well. That is the big thing here for Kiwian. He needs to know if there is going to be something like a Skytoss transition.
Yeah, how would you shut that down in Brute War Terran? Well, I guess Science Vessels. Science Vessels are usually the answer to everything, aren't they? Yeah.
True. Valkyries as well, you know, being on a bit of a lower tank count instead. But for now, of course, he is set up for the ground-based army. ReBellion's going to be rotating around, likewise pushing towards the new 4th of Kiwian, which is a little bit less fortified.
Yeah, not as many tanks over here. One tank already going to be popped. Couple of lockdowns being thrown, but not quite getting much. EMPs, though, from Science Vessels will land.
Yeah, the EMPs did land, so nicely done. Meanwhile, we had storms into the mineral lines. So far, Kiwian, he is holding on. He is still maxed out. And the question becomes, when does he move out? That is the big question, as he's still waiting for, I imagine, his +3 upgrades.
Yeah, this is Brute War Terran in a nutshell, right? You turtle up as best you can until you can get a full maxed out army, until you can essentially get your death ball, and then you just move across the map and take out anything along the way. It's part of the reason why a lot of Brute War Terran players switch to Protoss in StarCraft 2.
Stop! Yeah, we do have the defense matrix here onto those tanks. Massive storm on the bio, though.
Oof. Yeah, that bio army was just begging for it, being mushed into that corner like that.
It's a nice defensive matrix effect. It's a nice shield.
Yeah. It's green.
It is. As the army does push forward, one of the tanks does get caught on siege. Oh my god, but the tank blows are insane, and there's a lockdown. He gets a Colossus.
Oof, that's brutal.
Oh yeah. Gets a Colossus, catches out the Immortals as well. Once again, locking it down, locking it in place.
And now Kiwian with the Terran army starting to really stake his claim on the map. Decent storm.
Oh my god.
Better follow-up storm. A lot of Marines getting taken out.
Jesus. Yeah, the storms are brutal. They'll say dive on in as well. Now the tanks are exposed.
Yeah, but it's not quite enough beef in this Protoss army. We still have ghosts, and they are cloaked. Gonna maybe acting as a little bit of a buffer, taking out a lot of the Gateway army.
Yeah, they do shut down most of those Zealots. Likewise, another High Templar almost goes down. It does go down as well. Brutal losses. ReBellioN, he plummets in supply. I mean, again, ReBellioN, he lost his Colossus, lost the Immortals. That was a lot of high-tech units going down for the Protoss, so it takes a while to really replenish.
Yeah, I mean, look at the supply right now. Kiwian just, despite losing a lot of his bioforces, just trades so much more efficiently. If we look at the units lost tab, yeah, that's a major deficit here coming out from ReBellioN.
Yeah, I mean, what's important is the kind of army that was lost for the players, right? As you mentioned, the storms are brutal, and Kiwian lost mainly Marine. But that's the thing, right? He lost mainly Marine, so it's very easy, very cheap to replenish. I mean, while ReBellioN lost high-tech units instead, does push it into a siege line. Oh my god!
Oof. There's a lot more Gateway units as well. Is able to keep his Archon and his High Templar alive. But even then, if you're only losing Zealots, that stacks up quite a bit.
Yeah, it really does. And if you can see here, ReBellioN, he's not really replacing those rover units. Now we have one Immortal on the way, but, you know, he doesn't have any more Colossus, no more Immortals. As we mentioned before, has not tried to take up into Skytoss either. He's going to try to rotate over towards the left-hand side instead and try to find another way in. But, Jesus, these bunkers, they're ready. They're already loaded up. They stay loaded up.
Yeah, and we have tanks behind all of that as well. Ghosts here, but unfortunately Ghosts do not have EMP in Brute War.
Yeah, a bit of a misplaced lockdown as well on a Stalker. Storms on the tank line, massive connections. The Science Vessels, they do rotate over though, and it looks like Kiwian is going to be able to force this back. Oh my god, the feedbacks!
Feedbacks are insane. Science Vessels will lose all of their energy, but not before getting a couple EMPs. And yeah, once again, high-tech units getting taken out here for ReBellioN.
Yeah, he at least got some SCVs though. He was able to somewhat trade with the army, but alas, overall, Kiwian still maintains his army, maintains his supply, and is expanding and taking another base.
Yeah, this time in the top right-hand side.
And you can see whenever he expands,
out.
he's just following it with a line of bunkers. Like there's so many bunkers behind this. Oh my god.
Yeah, he's just expanding his fortifications as he expands economically as well. Although he doesn't have his main army in position here. ReBellioN takes out a couple of tanks, takes out a couple of bunkers, but once again loses High Templar, loses I believe his Immortal as well, and doesn't trade economically.
He does not. Some interesting lockdowns on the Stalkers, but he does pick them up regardless.
I might as well.
Yeah, might as well get some value with them, of course. As the armies are facing off against each other, ReBellioN expanding towards his opponent right next door here. He does dive in, does get a storm off.
Ooh! Very brutal storm, but Kiwian looks like he was able to kite back pretty well. Siege tanks able to utilize their range and take out those High Templar. That's a lot of lockdown stalkers, and that's also a lot of firepower for ReBellioN that's just not being utilized.
Yeah.
Once again, Kiwian just trading so efficiently.
Just the rapid fire lockdowns. Oh my god, one of the observers, they left in disgust. They're like, he's like, that was crazy. And with that, yeah, most of the Stalkers go down. ReBellioN, he plummets in supply once again. He still maintains some of his High Templar, but again, he has lost most of his gas-intensive units here. Scan reveals the base, and again, this was a very bold expansion from ReBellioN, expanding right in front of the face of Kiwian.
Yeah, and can he hold it? I honestly have my doubts. I mean, I'm looking at the supply right now, Light, and I'm looking at how much of Kiwian's supply is right next to that base. He isn't really taking the initiative, though, so that's one thing that's buying ReBellioN time, but sooner or later, that base is going to fall.
Oh, yeah. As the army does rotate forward here, slowly sieging upon that expansion. The tanks, they're coming slowly but surely. Likewise, more ghosts on the way, and ReBellioN, he just cannot keep up with this. He cannot push in. He has to give up on the expansion.
Yeah, he gives it up. He's going to try to bait out a couple units into Storm. Does take out a couple more Marines here and there, you know, wherever he can, but it feels as though it's too little too late at this point.
As ReBellioN is going to try to engage once again, but he already lost the expansion, and from here, Kiwian, he can slowly push forward. Now, the question becomes, is Kiwian now going to take this base and then set up more bunkers and then keep slowly pushing forward? Like, bearing in mind, Kiwian has not been aggressive at all this game. He's been defensive the entire time.
Yeah. But you know what? It's been working out well for him. ReBellioN charging straight into this and losing even more units once again. High-tech units as well, and these are losses that ReBellioN can no longer sustain. I mean, ReBellioN, he's been on a gateway army for a very long time, and because it's been a very, efficient, economically efficient army, now he's running out of gas. Now he's running out of minerals. He had a little bit of a bank earlier on, but he's pretty much spent it already. He cannot transition out of this anymore.
You know what's really interesting?
What I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, this dynamic feels... It reminds me a lot of late game TVZ and SE2, where you have the Zerg player that has the entire map, that expands and takes all these bases, and the Terran is being more defensive with bio tank. With like Marines, Ghosts, Liberators, tanks, and they're just slowly taking bases and slowly encroaching upon the map, and you have the Zerg player that's trying to break through and just ramming their face into a brick wall. That's what's been happening here, and it's not been going well for ReBellioN.
Yeah. I'm honestly a little surprised. I'm honestly a little surprised that ReBellioN didn't try to transition a little bit sooner into something like Sky Toss or something like that, but... Then again, with all of the science vessels and with all of these lockdowns, maybe he knows that Sky Toss isn't exactly ideal if they just get locked down and taken out.
Yeah, I mean, At this point, he's too far gone, right? At this point, he's already committed so hard. Massive EMP is going to be connecting. He does commit here into the CC. Tank shot's going to be going off. The ghosts are not quite in position, though.
Yeah, and the bunkers, they're empty.
Yeah.
But all these tanks, though, tanks are actually good against zealots if they're brute war tanks.
Yeah, Kiwian, I don't know if you noticed, his ghosts were just left behind the army, but there we go. Now they do move forward. Now they can be incorporated into the next big fight. That wasn't the worst engagement here for ReBellioN, but alas, he still doesn't really get any high-value targets as most of the tanks survive and all the ghosts survive as well.
And it's like you said, it's just like the SC2 TVZ, where it's the Terran players just banking on trading as efficiently as possible. And so far, Kiwian's been able to achieve that objective. I mean, ReBellioN is only able to muster up a gateway army, and so yeah, he keeps sending it forward, trying to take trades or trying to deal some damage to Kiwian's economy, and it's not been working out for him.
Yeah, and again, I do feel like it's at this point it is like too late to start working on like air upgrades and start working on sky tools. That is clearly where ReBellioN had to go. Clearly, that's the direction he had to take this, especially because of how defensive Kiwian is. Like with all these bunkers and siege lines, and again, like we have not seen any actual move out from Kiwian this entire game, outside of drop play of course, but his main army's been staying back at home. We do see ReBellioN now pushing in between the bases. Once again, we have the defensive matrix.
Ooh, huge storm's gonna be blanketing the bio army, but EMPs have not been thrown out just yet. We do have a huge amount of lockdowns on top of the Immortals and a couple of EMPs on top of the rest of the army. This looks like the beginning of the end here.
Oh yeah, every
ReBellioN.
Every Immortal goes down. Lockdown completely shuts down these high-tech units, and with that,
how does lockdown last?
Mate, it lasts. It's so long. It puts interference matrix to shame. Oh no, it's like twice, if not 3 times.
It's like, why can't my interference look like that?
Exactly. True. I'm telling you.
I would win every TVP if that was the case.
Mate, Terran regressed over time, mate. Brood War Terran was crazy with their spells.
Yeah, we got complacent. Terran got complacent. You're like, we're gonna upgrade the dropship so it can heal. What else are you gonna do?
Yeah,
that's it.
that's it. Yeah.
The one upgrade. And also, we're gonna consolidate the comm station with the CC.
Yeah. There you go.
All right, what else are you gonna do? Tanks don't need to research. Although actually, you did have to.
They did have to. In Wings of Liberty, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Terran, we've progressed.
There we go. As we can see here, Kiwian, he has slowly expanded towards top right, so he's taking that base. And I would imagine Kiwian, he's now going to expand here. Yep, you can see bunkers, right? He's slowly pushing forward with these bunker lines, with these tank lines. It's good. It's a slow death. It is a slow death for ReBellioN. ReBellioN is like, just come and kill me, and Kiwian's like, no, I'm not moving. I'm not pushing into you without bunkers.
Kill me, yeah, you kill me, you coward.
Oh god.
A couple of great feedbacks on top of the science vessels, but we still have one with energy, and honestly, that's all we need at this point. Misses the EMPs, but I mean, the Terran army is just dwarfing anything that ReBellioN can muster at this point. He doesn't even need those EMPs anymore.
He really doesn't. Here come the goods, here come the lockdowns. He does take down the Immortal, takes down the Stalkers as well, May as well. Zealot's forced to engage. There's no more splash damage, no more storm, and from here, Kiwian, he can just take the fight. Kiting back just to be efficient. GG gets called, and Kiwian will take the series at 2-1.
GG, very nicely done. A brilliant display of old school Turtle Terran. Old school defensive Terran play coming out here from Kiwian. Coming into this group, we had high hopes for ReBellioN. I feel like he was most of our second seeds in our mind after Shin, but Kiwian, he eliminates him here from SE Evolution League Fall Championship.
Yeah, ReBellioN is the first to be eliminated. As you say, that is a big surprise here, but at the same time, some of the onus, especially in this final game, should be on ReBellioN, just because he did kind of commit quite hard here. We spoke earlier, like, clearly against this kind of style, Kiwian wants you to push into him. He wants to fight on his terms, with his tank lines, with his bunkers, with his defensive setup. That's what he wants, and ReBellioN gave him exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, it definitely feels like ReBellioN tunnel visioned a little bit too hard in the middle of that game, and you know who's to blame for that? It's the Zealots. It's the SC2 Zealots.
True. They regressed the brain. GG, well played. Congratulations, Kiwian does take the series. So someone asking earlier, is Kiwian top? Yes. TOP top is Kiwian. They are one and the same. Kiwian has usually been casting these events, but great to see him competing as well. And Kiwian will advance on to the decider match.